Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of Olympus Rises, Season 2, Episode 1. Glad you all could be here. Hope you're all having a good time. Let's get into trying to get onto Iasis without dying. Hello?
Yep.
Hello. Alright, so moving right along to our
Kill things now.
soon if you want, yeah. I don't know
It's
how
a rescue mission.
I don't know how well that'll go for you in the end, to be fair. So I think that what is interesting here is up until this point you have not encountered any signatures or any resistance or anything else from any other ships in the area. Now that you've kind of come to within sensor range of the planet, who would like to make a check to see what they can pull up about kind of what's going on in orbit and around the planet?
Well, it's not Oscar, I'll tell you that much.
It's going to be a computer's check with intelligence.
I think that's my job.
Yeah, you're at the comms panel.
Looking at you, Fisher.
Nice.
Hey.
Nice roll. So, you're able to extend out the sensors to a decent sized range without kind of giving away your position. And as you do, you can see that there's just a flurry of activity constantly around the entire planet. You can see ships, spaceships in orbit around different areas of the planet itself. You can see that some of them are giving off probably some IFFs that you recognize. Some of them are giving off IFFs that you don't recognize. It's kind of a little busy on your screen, but you're able to discern quite a bit of information. And I think that the first thing that you discern is in orbit, kind of just, arrayed about the planet are quite a few more Kuchera ships than anyone else. So with that information, it means that you are a far enough distance away. They probably can't detect you, and they probably aren't focused on trying to detect you either. They probably have other ships in the area. And again, so just to remind everyone that how this alliance between these two people work is Kuchera is responsible for all space and fleet tactics, and they're pirates. So they're not particularly good at occupation of locations, which is probably why you've been able to slip through the net so far. Barba, however, is in charge of ground and atmosphere operations, and they are highly trained and motivated. So I think that based on your little sensors roll there for Fisher, you realize very quickly that getting in and out of the orbit is not necessarily going to be a problem. You have a small enough signature of a ship that you might be mistaken for, something else. Also, you have your signature masks, so they may not even know who you are. And then a lot of the pirates have their signatures masked, so getting your ship in and out of the orbital area is not going to be a huge deal. But you do realize very quickly that once you're in atmosphere, you're kind of in a whole new territory as far as people who can do and say things to you. Kuchera not being the most disciplined, I'm kind of giving you guys a pass on the ability to evade them accurately to get down to the planet. But the problem is, once you enter atmosphere, like I said, it becomes a whole different ballgame. So with that being said, I think that your 12 also gives you the information that you're going to have to wait for a few hours until the Gamaz is actually within range for a scan at your distance, because the planet's rotation is going to take a few hours for Gamaz to kind of come into the view. But I think that since your sensors are so high, you're able to kind of detect a couple of other things. So there is a large moon that orbits Iasus. You can see it there on the image for the planet. And what you can determine from focusing some scans in that direction is there appears to be a hive of activity around that particular moon. In fact, I think that you realize quite quickly that the lack of ships and sensor net that covers the planet itself is probably because there is some heavy extreme focus on this moon orbiting the planet. So in addition to your skill at doing whatever you're doing anyway, you guys have gotten a little bit lucky in the fact that besides being undisciplined, they are also distracted. And so I think that clues you into there's a green light here. You definitely have an opportunity to get in before the kind of defenses and things go up again. So hooray you. What do you relay to the
That was my
about that?
very next question, is how Fisher puts that.
Yeah, I mean, what does everyone else think?
Well, no, I think we're asking, like, how do you say that to the party?
We don't think anything yet, because that's your information to dole out to us as you see fit.
I don't think I would really miss out much. Yeah, I just, we want to give this mission as much success as we can have.
So you brain dump to us everything that Jordan said, then?
Pretty much.
Okay. I mean, Oscar would be, he probably has barely left, since we've been in the system approaching, he's probably barely left. And he would say, that's excellent. We should be as surgical about this as possible. We have our targets.
I would. Yeah. Be fast. Be quiet. Be fine.
Go.
Although Gogo's kind of interested in this moon, she also is just cued into her ultimate goal. So she just nods along and says, "So it looks like we just gotta wait a little bit. We'll be good to go."
Yeah. I think Oscar actually does say, Fisher, can you figure out what it is they're preoccupied with exactly? Could help us.
So Fisher, I think that instead of making you roll again, you got a 12, but I think that what I want here is actually a luck save.
God.
I fucking love the luck save, man. It's so good.
It's going to be.
I think you're the only one that does.
Yeah, 100%. It's only you.
Holy shit!
Oh God!
Yeah.
We know fuck all about that moon.
Yeah. So Fisher, I think that the problem is whatever's going on is on the opposite side of the moon from you. It's just you have no idea. You just know that there's activity around it, and it's collecting a lot of attention.
Yeah, I cannot tell you that information. I have no idea on what's actually going down. Just there could be something.
Correct. The moon is actually sentient. and now
Yes.
knows that you are here.
That's Alexei 1. Yeah.
We provoked the moon. That's what the critical alarm failure got.
It
The
is
moon,
now. It's reversed its orbit
it
and is
gazes
now
in
heading
our
back towards
direction.
your ship. Yep.
Okay. So is it all right, Fisher. It's probably nothing anyway. Nothing that impacts our direct course of action.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next few hours kind of pass, perhaps in a little bit of tense atmosphere about the ship. Final preparations, checking all the buckles and latches, making sure that everybody's prepared to hit the boots on the ground when you land.
Yep.
And once you have the green light, Dr. Fisher, you're monitoring the rotation of the planet, and Gamaz comes into range, and you have a straight, direct line at it that kind of avoids the mediocre sensor net that the Kuchera have up right now. You nod at Gogo, and Gogo, it's your job to take it in here. But I do want to know how accurately you do so, Gogo.
I would like to know as well.
So why don't you roll me a I think that I actually want a navigation check here with intelligence to navigate your way towards this location.
Oh,
Let's
Double
use that
one.
reroll.
yeah, that reroll.
Looking pretty good right now.
Hey,
Is that the lowest you
That is the
possibly could have?
lowest I can actually
you
roll,
got
which is pretty
Wow.
fucking
Double
great.
ones.
But
And you
For
still
the
get a
first-
5. That's
the
nuts.
lowest I can get. So yeah.
That's still almost a pass.
Season 2, good start.
Right?
The good news is that wasn't a drill roll.
Yep.
Listen, I'm using my reroll. Just chill. It's fine. Look at that. Doubled it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I
It's
was
totally
I
fine.
was just waiting for the second 5. I was like
That's
here,
the curse. The
here it
curse of the
comes.
It's the
consecutive
curse of
fives.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
true.
what Proto Will left us with.
Yep.
Roto will. Holy fuck, that's funny.
Oh god. So I do it. Yay.
So with a
Yay.
10, that is obviously enough to navigate with the help of Fisher's sensor roll to determine the correct path through. You do pass through a very small kind of series of debris and asteroids. And I think that as you're passing through this asteroid field, you realize that some of what you're passing through are like now derelict ships.
Not asteroids.
Yeah, the debris around the planet has increased tenfold in recent skirmishes, and you can see now kind of coming into view as you get closer to them big hulking like capital ships of various sizes. I think that we see like the camera zooms out and we see your tiny little freighter passing through the shadow of this gigantic, like massive, difference between a fucking rowboat and cruise ship sized vessel. And we see you just like pass in the shadow and go, it probably held 20,000 souls or somewhere in that range. And it kind of has like an eerie, kind of almost spooky silence to it as you fly by it. And you enter and track a trajectory into the atmosphere of the planet, and you begin your descent. And as you do, the ship, heats up as you burn through the atmosphere. And as soon as you enter in, Dr. Fisher, as soon as you enter into the atmosphere, you start receiving like some sensor interference. Probably like a point or position you were tracking on your way down, like the coordinates of Gamaz. They're kind of shifting and flitting across the screen. You actually, and I'm not going to make you roll for it, but you believe you might have entered some sort of jammed area, and your sensors are not reliable any longer as you descend through the atmosphere in the direction of Gamaz. What do you say to everyone when that happens?
Guys, the comm frequencies are incredibly messy. I can't pick out a direct signal from anything, so I'm afraid we're mostly going in blind from here on out.
Hooray!
Don't split up.
Yeah, so the question is, Gogo, you continue on your path?
Yeah, so Gogo sighs, and it's not the first time she's flown completely blind, she's used to it. But she's a little more worried now.
I would like to check my comm pad to see if that still works.
Yeah, so the advantage of the comm pad is it's connected directly to your ship right now.
Okay.
So it appears that it is not interfered, but I think that the first thing that you notice is it's like if you look at your phone and you have no signal, but the Wi-Fi is turned on.
Okay.
So I think you realize that connection with the outside world may be interfered by this. But as far as for your comm pad on the ship with all the others, you should be fine. Maybe, once you disembark, that might change. Once you get X amount of distance away from the ship, that might change.
Cool.
But yeah, for now, that's what you're looking at.
So what you're saying is if we separate ourselves from the ship, we won't be able to contact with each other.
Yes, or the range might be severely limited.
Yeah.
Not across a city, maybe within a few 100 feet or yards.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. So, it's kind of an overcast day, but you actually suspect that it's mostly just fumes from the fires that I described earlier burning throughout the planet. Kind of casts a permanent
It's fog of war.
Yeah, fog of war or nuclear fallout-esque scenario. And I think that you break below the cloud cover. And as you do so, you see that you're still pretty far up. You're probably a couple thousand feet above the ground, maybe 10-20,000 feet above the ground. And as you do, you can gaze down, and you can see that it's morning time, right? So you can see the star in the system has rotated around, and you can see that the light is shining over the city, and you can see that here there doesn't appear to be quite as much destruction. I think you see that little bit of that beauty from Iasis that you saw before, and you understand, Gogo, that the city is mostly controlled by Barba right now. But this particular city is kind of on the front lines, I guess, if you could call them front lines. In a war between TL4 races, it's mostly just this is the territory that you haven't moved into yet, and I haven't evacuated yet. It's not necessarily like trenches that are dug out or lines in the sand that are drawn. It's mostly just we want to control everything past this, so we just blow everything else up and then control this. So, but there are foot soldiers and ground forces that have to act. There'll never be I should say there will always be a need for that. But as you begin to descend lower and lower, I think that probably Gogo, it's probably you.
It would be Gogo, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So Gogo, I think that as you're descending lower and lower, you're kind of maybe searching for like a good landing place.
She just said that she's having issues with Discord, so I'm not sure if she can actually hear you at present.
Good.
She's
Good.
actually not in Discord.
She's actually not here. So I'm gonna make it Oscar then, because you're sitting in the captain's chair, right?
Of course.
Okay. So Oscar, you have like the console up, and you can see like everybody else's console, right? It's I actually since I watched people play Star Trek Bridge Simulator, I imagine the ship very much like Star Trek Bridge Simulator now, where the position that you're in, Oscar, has like a summary of what all of the other positions see. You can't interact, and you can't like specifically pull up different things, and you have limited access to view, but you have like the overall concern of what everybody else
Oscar
does.
Oscar can't do anything with that,
Right.
that anyway. He's the overseer.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think that as you're like, you're observing surroundings, all of a sudden a tone rings out. Beep! And you recognize it immediately to be missile lock. And it came out of nowhere.
Yep.
And you have a moment to respond. What do you do?
Jordan.
Yes.
Would I perhaps have more than a moment if this would have triggered my precog?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Because I could totally understand if like you want to say, well, the warning isn't threatening and the damage is more than,
the damage
what that
is
would
not.
mean is we have a minute.
So the point is, the damage is not more than 60 seconds away. So
yeah, so I think I might have a little bit more time.
Yeah, and
that.
you still have to spend. You haven't mastered that ability, right? You still have to spend points.
No, I haven't. I would spend the points.
Okay, yeah. So you do. You see all this, and then we flash back 60 seconds. And in probably about, if you go back 60 seconds, in probably about 40 seconds, you're gonna get the missile lock tone.
Yeah, so I think so how that plays out then is probably Oscar has like just finished, he yells at Gogo like we have to take evasive maneuvers, get us the hell out of here. And then he shortly after, like I don't know, how does Gogo respond to that if just out of nowhere Oscar yells evasive maneuvers?
I mean, I think Gogo's trained to immediately react to that no matter who says it ever. So I think that the second she hears that from anybody, she immediately just dials in and starts doing the necessary things. Like it's second nature.
Yeah, so why don't you roll me a piloting space check, Gogo?
Okay. With what? I don't.
This is straight up Dex. Even though it's a freighter and you fly with intelligence.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I asked. Yeah.
This is pure reaction time.
Hell yeah, 12.
Nice. Yep. Yeah. So you immediately like bank the ship up into the cloud cover again, right? And you head back up, and I think that Oscar, you wait, and you're like,
the tone doesn't come.
Yeah, the tone doesn't come.
Awesome.
And then as you're kind of like coasting, I think all of you see two bursts from the cloud cover kind of off in the distance in front of you, and you see these two rockets that fly off in to the atmosphere and straight up. They lost their targeting on
Oscar just, he's still seated, and he points at him. He's like, yeah, those.
So this just got a lot harder to land, huh?
It seems that way.
Yeah.
You think they have more than two?
Missiles or batteries?
Yeah, missiles.
probably they have more than 2 missiles.
Do you think we can hit the ground before they can launch more?
Oscar just looks to Gogo.
Well, yeah, she's still trying to shake off, you yelling at her to immediately take evasive maneuvers. So,
I expect like a couple of moments have passed.
No,
but
she's kind of like,
that's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, sure. She just kind of like wants to get on the ground as fast as possible.
Well, I think our only option is to go as fast as possible right now.
Gotta go fast.
Could we swing in from a different
Speed.
location?
Thank you, Will.
What?
Nothing.
So Oscar asks, could we swing in from a different position, or we don't have a great view of the ground. I'm not sure there's any other option than to just simply go for it.
Yeah, because even if we try to go
we could be
somewhere
going
else,
into somebody else. Yeah,
exactly. We might be flying into something worse.
I
I
believe
think our
in
best
Gogo.
option is to go straight at the ground, and I think Gogo can do that. Like, try to crash the ship, but then save it at the end.
Maybe half a step back from that, but yes. So, Oscar is just, looking at the whatever poor readout we actually have, if any, and he's kind of...
Yeah, so the ship's been flying during this conversation, and I think that the two of you that can see like the sensors, like Oscar, your summarized version, and your version there, Dr. Fisher, the signal is getting stronger. Like, or I should say, the deterioration of your signal is lessening. The further and further you travel away from Gamaz.
So maybe it's the people we're trying to save who are jamming the city so that Barba / Kuchera can't get in. Or have trouble getting in.
They did say the compound was heavily
They
fortified.
Sure did.
There's a reason
So
why.
maybe it was their missiles that they fired at us. That would be fun. Here, we're here to save you. Boom, you shot out of the sky. Shit.
Well, be that as it may, we really have no choice in the matter now, do we?
Nope. So go to the ground.
Gogo's like sort of okay with computers, but not enough to actually think this thought all the way through. So she's just going to speak out loud and see if anybody else potentially picks up on it, I guess. Perhaps there's another way for us to get into contact them. Is that a thing we can do? Is that Chan, do you know anything about the comm system? She's like saying through the ship's comms.
Yeah, so Chan back in engineering, he's probably like, I can maybe take some power away from the engines to boost the signal. It might help, but I'm not sure. With the strain of the ship in the past couple of minutes, well, I would not suggest we try those maneuvers too many more times.
No one warned Chan. He probably got thrown around in the back.
He's used to it by now, let's be real.
He could lose an arm and not really care, so I mean, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even feel it, to be fair.
There would be a sense of loss.
So too much of a strain, you think, Chan?
No, I think I can do it. But I can't say that it would be much. Might just be enough to get, well, at least the geography of the terrain, or I think he says, at least the layout of the terrain.
Oh, it's more than we have now. Think you can do it quickly?
I think he's already working on it.
I mean,
find
yeah,
this
that's...
character.
I mean...
So for Chan, this is rerouting power. I actually don't think in this case it's going to be computers. I actually think it's going to be a tech skill case. And the reason why I say that is just because he's like physically going to have to reroute some things to boost the power here. It's not like it doesn't have sliders where you can boost the power. So I'm going to make a tech astronautic skill. Okay, he does it. So, Dr. Fisher, why don't you make a another computer's intelligence check? But you can get a +1 because you have a little bit of additional power now.
Okay.
Okay.
9.
So it's not as good as it was before, but you're specific on the area that you want now. And so I think that you get a little bit of information. I think that information goes a little something like... Here. Here. So, you get the basic terrain, and two things that stick out to you. There's a location here that appears to be standing out to you. Like it's not. I think so. So what happens here is you compare the information that you receive to the map you have of the city from the mission, and you see that there are two particular locations that are different. There's a large complex here, and there is a smaller complex here. I have this labeled as Barba Forward Operating Base because that's what it is. It'd be pretty obvious that that's what it might be. So with this map available to you, you have a little bit of more information as to perhaps where you might want to fly the ship directly at the ground.
Yeah, I'm seeing all this open land over here.
I'm
That
also
looks like-
seeing it's next to one of the red dots, though.
But there's a little tiny one. I'm not afraid of that one.
What's that? Is that higher elevation or lower elevation?
Water.
I can't
Or
see.
water.
Water's actually blue on this map.
But isn't water blue? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
guys.
this is
But I don't see any blue.
yeah. So there's a river that runs through the city.
Oh,
the river,
that-
and
got
there's
it.
little dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, these.
Oh,
dots.
okay.
So this here, the and like this as well, and this over here,
Yes,
including this.
What is that denoting?
Where this is, that is denoting like how to describe it. What's a good way? Not farmland, but like cultivated areas. Whereas this would be denoting like wilderness.
So this is clearings.
Yes, yeah, more so clearings than.
Yeah, that looks like a good spot.
The disadvantage to flying your ship directly at the
Is
ground
you can
over here,
see it. Yeah.
is exactly you'll be exposed from there.
I don't know how good our ship would be going straight into freaking forest either, though.
I mean, in this.
better than missiles.
Yeah.
I mean, a tree trunk at Mach
Right,
20
it's
is going
practically
to
a
it's going to do about the same amount of damage as
Well, yeah,
anything
you
else.
fly above the trees.
And that's only 13.5 feet.
It is. It sure is. You could literally you could literally
Hard to park our ship there.
throw a frisbee and make it.
We
Here.
just land the ship and yell at him,
How about-
"Get on!" And then fly away.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how many soldiers can they fit in a base that's only?
Here. Let's
5
try.
feet by 6
Let's
feet?
try now. Let's see how far it is now. Oh damn,
Okay.
that sucks.
Oh, that.
Hmm.
Anyway.
So is that probably?
Oh,
a-
actually, there you go. Now, try now. Yeah. Get rid of those.
Now is it legitimate?
No. Check it now. Yeah. Get off of it. Yeah. Oh, it didn't change. Damn. Hold on. Maybe it'll change now. I changed it into centimeters to be hilarious, but
10,000.
But would this be the actual probably?
so it would probably be more like that now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably closer to scale.
Okay,
So about 3 miles from there.
gotcha.
So
There's
with ground transportation,
5.
we could do this, but since we're extracting, we're extracting people, that's probably not going to fly.
Don't you wish you bought 3 sidecars now?
Yeah.
I wish I had my race.
But then we'd
card.
also have to have 3 people who can drive them.
Correct.
And right now we have 1, maybe 2.
No, I think what he means is when we were talking about having like the Metalocalypse
Oh.
with like
Yeah.
6 sidecars.
with just like 8, just
four
keep
on
stacking.
each side. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it is a trek from, and basically anywhere you want to land, it's going to be a trek, right? Like, you're probably not going to land right in the middle of the city and not have consequences from it, right?
Yeah. This is probably our best landing spot.
Out of character, yeah. My vote is still to make the 2-mile trek and pray that our only way off this planet isn't destroyed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like I don't
if
even
they
think that has
can't-
to be out of character though. Like this, like you guys have some time to just kind of hang out. Now, whatever fired missiles at you knows you're here. That is another concern. They might have more than just missiles.
Yep.
So
Yeah, okay. I mean, looking at this data now, Oscar says, yeah, exactly that. He says, how about that clearing east or the clearing west of the Forton estate? It will be a trek, but we'll be in much more trouble if the ship takes critical damage than if we have to walk a mile or 2 to get our targets.
And I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500.
Only 2 miles, for sure.
Just to be the man who walked.
Look at the map.
Go down that door.
I thought you were good with numbers, Fisher.
anyways, so we should probably approach from the west side of the city and just fly like right here. I agree with Oscar. This is our
Yeah,
best
so
location.
I had kind of envisioned that you guys were flying this direction already.
Okay.
Like you had come, like you dropped in the cloud cover, like maybe here, and by now you've been flying in this direction for some time.
Well, then let's just fly straight down and back over.
Yeah, probably that's to our advantage if they think that we just buzzed the place and wanted nothing to do with it after they shot goddamn missiles at us.
Which is a 100% possibility, right? Because they could have just assumed you were a Ton or Kucheris ship, depending on who controls the SAM site, right? Like,
right.
True.
They could have just assumed you were a ship coming down to land and you were their enemies, and now that you're gone, okay, good, you're gone.
So yeah, I think Go-Go, if we can take it in low, try to avoid notice and trees, that clearing seems like a good bet, don't you think?
Go nods, but also is a little annoyed that everyone seems to be telling her how to do her job.
He asked. You hadn't volunteered anything yet, so
Because she was probably already in the process of doing that.
She'd probably be annoyed even if she did ask and we were telling her what to do.
yeah.
He's not wrong. So
Let's
yeah,
just go.
Go nods and turns around and proceeds to take it in low. Also, probably telling Chan to reroute the power back to our engines. Just because we might need it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get down low, and the distance that you traveled past the city, your sensors have improved almost to full capabilities right now.
Cool.
So whatever it is localized to Gamaz. And I would say you probably come low. You come down maybe just off screen over here.
Cool.
And you're flying in low over the wilderness area. And again, like I said, this is like this city is not huge, as you can tell by the scale that I've made it now. So as you're flying over the wilderness, you can see like farmlands and rural houses and stuff, and you're flying. And I think that as you approach about this location here, right as you're like kind of crossing over this clearing, you see that there appear to be structures that that are kind of lined up along this road, this major roadway that comes in, and kind of cut north about here and head up in this direction, following kind of this roadway now. And it looks like a structure not dissimilar to a wall. As you're kind of approaching it, you can just see kind of a line of demarcation. And as you pass over this clearing right here, you see that there appear to be like tents that are erected. Fortune and Oscar, you would recognize them as like military tents that are erected right here in this location.
Perfect. Well,
can you ping where that is one more time on the map?
Yeah, you ready? I'm just gonna move you right there. Oh wait, hold on. Look, it's right here, Oscar.
Okay, so there are forces west of. We're basically flying right over those again. Okay.
Yeah, you're flying right over those, but nothing seems to happen.
And Barba's all the way over here. Not saying they're not Barba, but there's also a possibility it's like a resistance force. But I would, at this point, since we're flying into land, I would like to ask whoever is going to get these people, we should probably be at the loading dock ready to get off the ship as soon as we land.
Yeah. Oscar is there and ready.
Yeah.
Who all is coming? Are we leaving Chan with the ship?
Fortune is coming. I would say we should leave Gogo with the
Yeah,
ship,
I would.
just in case.
I would leave myself out of the extraction team.
We can do a hot extraction like we've done before with someone who can actually fly.
It's worked once.
So like,
Well, no, there was
the
a time before
landing
that
gear
too,
remains
right?
intact. Yeah. Also on the
Space
when
users
we
plan.
dropped
Yeah, no,
off
I freaking
Mushroom
nailed that
Jesus.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Okay, cool. So you begin continuing over, and as you cross over this major crossroads right here, and you approach this structure, you can see now that you're close enough as you're passing over it. And again, you're flying quickly, but you're able to take in all this information kind of at a glance. It looks like a erected barrier of some sort. And I think that you realize now that as you get closer to it, it looks like it is almost a... man, I don't know how to describe it besides an electric fence. But instead of actual wires that cross, there looks to be actual, like, rails of electricity that are kind of sparking between the pylons. And I think you recognize it as very clearly Tan architecture.
Okay.
And it looks like maneuverable. I'm using air quotes there. It looks like it is something that can be erected in a hurry, so it's probably not super durable. But it does look purposeful as it's erected there. And as you cross over it, when you hit about this point right here, and you're flying and you're approaching the landing area, Oscar,
Tell me more.
do you want to spend 2 points on a possible premonition?
Oh shit.
So Jordan, here's the problem.
Hmm.
It's 3, and I can't afford that. So I want it. However, I can't use that again this session because I am not going to pay the cost.
Yeah. Okay. You don't wanna do some minor torching?
I sure don't. But I do want to.
Sure?
Listen, when that time comes, you will know.
That'll be the end of Arc 2. That'll be season 2 finale.
Oscar
blows himself up.
Be
as
right
much
now, 'cause
as hilarious as it would be to have Oscar go suddenly feral on the ship as they're being shot at by missiles.
As they're approaching
I
a
think-
extremely hot war zone to rescue VIPs.
Yeah.
At that point, we can just throw Oscar out. He'd be the weapon, and we could land, right?
Yes, correct.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, you know what? So I want the warning, but then
Yeah, so
I'm done. I can't use that again.
the warning is you hear a much lower tone. It is not the tone of a, say, ship-to-ship missile, but you get a boom, and you can identify the fact that the different tones are coming from the fact that this is some actual manned device on the ground. And I think that what we see is there are crews kind of set up about right here and about right here, kind of at the edges of this clearing, and they have shoulder mounted essentially ground to air missile systems.
Okay.
We can see them they're tracking the ship, and I think that we see a dude, and he's just he just waves his finger, and then a rocket fires out. Now, based on the quick assessment of the situation, you have rockets inbound.
Yeah. So I understand them to have already been fired.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You see it as Dr. Fisher sees it, as probably Fortune sees it, as probably Gogo sees it. You have, because I have very acute, actual real life knowledge of how these systems work, you have about 3 seconds.
Well, so what did my premonition actually buy me then?
Oh, I thought that you were not allowed to use it unless you spent the points.
No. So the way that it works is you get 1 freebie, and if you choose not to spend the points, you get the premonition, but then it becomes cloudy, which is their way of saying that you can't use it again because you didn't pay the cost.
Got it.
So the first time I paid the cost, and this time I'd rather be allowed to react to that.
I think that the cloudy vision then is there are man-portable missile sites in the clearing. They might shoot at you and hit you.
Sure. So it's what he, mechanically we see the damage and the source, basically, is how that works.
Yeah.
So, okay, he says, again, Gogo, Oscar's probably wearing on you at this point, but he speaks up again and he says, Gogo, hold it. Just stop. Bring it down. Don't go any farther. as we're actually nearing the
Yeah,
clearing.
you're probably like here at this point. You probably just passed over the electric fence thing.
Sure.
Hmm.
So does Go-Go like
Yeah, I
sigh
mean,
and then hit the brakes? Or...
again, she immediately snaps into action, not knowing why, but sure, yeah. So she, as abruptly, without killing everyone,
Yeah.
brings it to a halt.
Yeah, so these devices require line of sight. So
And
you don't
Oscar
need to
would
make
be
a roll here.
familiar enough with that to,
Yeah.
with that sort of weaponry to say like,
Yeah, like
Okay.
you shouldn't fly any closer because they have a clearing and they can probably hear you at this point. But if you're flying like super low, they're gonna have to wait till you like cross right into the clearing to take the shot.
Yeah.
So you have a minute to maneuver around somewhere else, but you have like a second to respond. Go. So where do you go? What direction do you turn the ship in?
I would
North
go
or
straight-
south?
I would go straight into the woods. So that's north.
Oh, so north. Yeah. So you just bank it northwards, and start headed this direction.
Which I imagine is safer at the slower speed I am currently going.
Yeah. I'm not gonna make you make a roll to bank
Okay.
it northwards. So as you continue northwards and you're heading towards here, you get to probably about this location here, and you're kind of following parallel with this fence portion, which kind of runs.
Yeah, I was
right
just
here.
gonna say, if I see a fence line in front of us, like possibly starting to go horizontal to us,
Yeah, in fact,
I would not cross said
right.
fence.
I think
So
we
as
should probably
we're-
just land
Yeah. As we're
in
traveling,
this way, this area.
let
I don't think we should
me
go too
actually
far
show
north.
you where the fence is.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, instead of it being all abstract and shit, that'd be great.
Yeah. Actually,
we
I
should
actually
probably
have
as
it all
we're-
prepared.
That's what I think.
going north.
Yeah, so like you could
Oscar
whip it around
explained.
and land right here if you want.
So Oscar explains, like, I had a vision, it's just a flash, but that clearing is not so clear. Just multiple soldiers with shouldered RPGs. We obviously cannot go the intended route.
Well, would it be safe to assume that they would be Tan?
Jordan is, do I know on that level of detail?
No, I would
Yeah,
definitely say not.
I expected not either, but I might I might as
Yeah.
well ask. So he says it's unclear who they are, but if they're willing to try and shoot us down, it doesn't much matter.
Well, I meant if we could land here and then just make the trek into here, the clearing, and find out which side they're on. Maybe we could move in closer for a pickup at least.
I agree. I think setting the ship down now is probably the best option.
Actually, I just realized we work in meters in this game, so there we go.
Okay,
Now it's in kilometers.
cool.
You're welcome, Will.
I mean, I'm fine with miles. It's
Will knows freedom units.
Haha.
Ah,
So the plan is you're gonna land next to the fence in this
Correct.
clearing here.
correct.
All right.
I don't like the way you said that, but yes.
Well, I was thinking more like, how the fuck do I pen in the map?
You
Like
have
here.
the arrow selected.
Yeah, you have to have the select move pan view.
Just click and yeah, there you go.
It's not doing it, but I was thinking
Is that
on...
because you have the ruler selected?
Nope.
Weird.
So
I was thinking on the other side of the river,
Yeah.
like in that little clearing,
Yeah.
basically, if we can get down, we'd at least not be in completely exposed space by wherever the fence is, because that looks like it's completely open.
It sure is.
Yeah. So I think that if we can get on the other side of the river, that in and of itself might be helpful.
Yeah.
And being in somewhat more of a wooded area would be also to our advantage. So
Okay. Yeah. I think that is totally
if
possible.
we're cruising along and we see just that right spot, that's what we're looking for.
All right. Fantastic.
Me rolling, they hating.
Trying to shoot us with some missiles.
Yes, exactly.
Trying to shoot
Yep.
us with some missiles. Trying to shoot us with some missiles. Trying to shoot us with some
Okay,
missiles.
so
yes, you land. You have a decent place here. It is it's not fully wooded, but it's kind of like this road right here, this Jackson Boulevard. It is a pretty major roadway.
Mm-hmm.
So like from here down is pretty, like the ship is probably even somewhat visible. Like, or maybe like from certain angles, like if you're driving this direction down the road, you probably can't see it. But driving this direction, you probably can like look over and see it maybe. But from this side, it's pretty well protected because the whites are the minor roadways here. And so it's like a mixture
obliging
of
Go-Go to sit there. We're just trying to set down without, getting our asses blown out of the sky, right?
You're asking if she can take off again?
Yeah, basically, if she's, she already said that she's staying with the ship,
Mm-hmm.
and if, something comes to pass where she has to take off, she could even try and find a better location or stay. We just need to be able to put feet on the ground,
Yeah.
try and get over to the estate, and then we can figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
but
what I was
to be
figuring.
fair, the only thing that has saved us from me flying around in the past 30 minutes is
Yes.
you. And if you get off the ship, then I'm dead. So
Right.
in Go-Go's mind, staying put is actually easier for her to defend.
Yeah,
than
based on like the last hour, this is pretty
literally
hairy.
the last hour, you've been the only thing that. Sorry. Anyway, continue.